You've cheered for the heroes. You've watched them save the world again and again. But what if the real tragedy of the DCEU isn't in its fallen heroes, but in the broken people who became villains? Because behind every act of evil, there's always a story that once started with hope. So today, we're opening the curtain on tragedy, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the moments that turned good people into monsters. And as we go through these stories, ask yourself one question: can you truly hate a villain when you understand the pain that forged them? Before she was the Queen of Chaos, she was Dr. Harley Quinn, a brilliant psychiatrist who believed she could cure madness. But when she met the Joker, she didn't just study insanity, she fell into it. The Joker didn't just break her, he reshaped her, twisting love into addiction, care into chaos. Her empathy became her weakness, and her weakness became her weapon. She wasn't chasing crime, she was chasing validation, a desperate need to matter to someone, even if that someone was a monster. And that's what makes Harley tragic. She didn't want to rule Gotham, she just wanted to be loved. David Hyde, a man raised by the sea and by his father's shadow. He wasn't a god, not a king. Just a man, until the day his father died, while Aquaman watched. In that moment, grief calcified into purpose. Every blow he throws at Arthur Curry isn't about greed, it's about grief. A son trying to make the ocean feel his pain. You see, heroes and villains share the same birthplace, tragedy. The only difference is what they do with it. And Black Manta? He didn't drown in the ocean, he became it. Gotham has many ghosts, but none scream louder than Jason Todd. He wasn't born into tragedy like Bruce Wayne, he was built from it, piece by piece, in alleys and abandoned rooftops. A kid who stole the Batmobile's tires and ended up stealing Batman's heart. For the first time, he had a family, a purpose, someone who believed he could be more than a street kid. For the first time, he had a family, a purpose, someone who believed he could be more than a street kid. But Gotham doesn't forgive hope. The Joker took Jason apart, not just physically, but symbolically. He didn't kill Robin. He killed the idea that Batman could save everyone, and when Jason opened his eyes again, everything he believed in was gone. The father figure who was supposed to avenge him did nothing. He wasn't angry that he died. He was angry that Bruce let him. Imagine dying for justice, and waking up to find your mentor moved on. No vengeance, no reckoning, just silence. So Jason made his own. He became the Red Hood, not as a villain, but as Gotham's correction. A mirror held up to Batman's moral code. Every bullet he fires is a sermon. Every life he takes, a message written in gunpowder. You failed me. But the real tragedy isn't the violence, it's the philosophy. Jason still believes in saving Gotham. He just stopped believing it could be done clean. He's the embodiment of Batman's greatest fear, that justice without mercy becomes vengeance. Jason Todd isn't evil. He's what happens when hope is betrayed, a broken son, still trying to live up to a father who stopped looking. He isn't the monster Gotham thinks he is. He's the proof that even heroes can create them. Lex Luthor grew up believing one thing: if you can't be a god, destroy one. He's the smartest man in the world, and yet, in a universe filled with Kryptonians and Amazons, his genius means nothing. What looks like arrogance is actually fear. Lex isn't angry at Superman for being powerful. He's angry that power made him feel small. He sees himself as humanity's last defense. But what he's really defending is his ego. And that's why his villainy hurts most, because it's born not from hate, but insecurity. For mortals, tragedy is loss. For gods, it's the illusion of control. Darkseid was once a man who lost everything: a son, a world, a soul. So he sought the one thing that could never abandon him: order. He turned grief into tyranny, control into religion. And his anti-life equation? A mathematical way to erase heartbreak. Brainiac, too, wanted perfection. He couldn't save life, so he collected it. Bottling worlds, preserving beauty by killing it. Both gods, both terrified of chaos, both proving one truth: the need for control is the purest form of fear. Before he was a monster, Atrocitus was a man, a father, a husband, a priest of Sector 66, a world that once believed the cosmos had order, that justice was real. Until the day justice arrived, the Manhunters. The first creations of the Guardians came to bring peace. Instead, they brought extinction. They didn't make a mistake. They made a massacre. When the smoke cleared, there was no world left, only a survivor, crawling from the ashes, covered in the blood of everything he loved. That man became Atrocitus. Some people grieve, some forgive. Atrocitus did neither. He studied his grief, memorized it, and forged it into a weapon. He believed rage wasn't a curse. It was truth, the purest emotion. Because in a universe built on lies of order and justice, only rage told the truth. So he built a church out of fury, and its holy fire burned red. Every red lantern ring he forged came from that same wound, a shard of pain screaming through space, looking for a heart angry enough to bear it. And when the ring finds its host, it replaces the blood in their veins with rage. They don't wear the ring. They bleed it. But here's the tragedy no one talks about. Atrocitus still prays. He still believes he's saving souls, one scream at a time. Because in his mind, rage isn't destruction, it's honesty. He preaches that rage is proof of love. You only burn because you once cared too much. Every red lantern is a mourner wearing armor, and every scream they unleash is a prayer to something that failed them. To the Guardians, to the universe, to God. Atrocitus' war isn't about revenge anymore. It's about faith. A crusade against apathy. Because in his eyes, peace is the real lie. Forgiveness is surrender. And rage is the only way the dead can still speak. He's not fighting evil. He's fighting silence. The silence that follows loss. The silence of gods who watched his world burn and did nothing. Atrocitus isn't the devil. He's a father who never got to bury his child. His Church of Rage is a memorial that never ends. Every flame he lights in blood is another candle for a world that no longer exists. And maybe that's why we can't look away. Because deep down, we all know what he's preaching. That the line between love and rage is as thin as a heartbeat. Atrocitus didn't lose his soul. He just set it on fire. Before he became the whisper that haunts Gotham's shadows. Before the name Hush ever meant death. He was Thomas Elliot. A boy who grew up side by side with Bruce Wayne. Same city, same privilege, same promise. But where Bruce lost everything, Thomas lost nothing. And that was the problem. Because from that moment, Thomas saw something in Bruce that he could never have. Not wealth, not status, but purpose. Bruce's pain gave him meaning. Thomas's comfort gave him emptiness. So he did what broken prodigies do. He tried to create his own tragedy. Thomas Elliot cut his parents' brake lines. He didn't want inheritance, he wanted rebirth. But fate has a cruel sense of irony. His mother survived. His father died. And with that, the perfect story he planned for himself fell apart. And while Bruce spent his life avenging the death of his parents, Thomas spent his avenging the survival of his. As he grew older, Thomas became a surgeon, the power to heal in his hands. But healing never satisfied him. He didn't want to fix broken things. He wanted to control them. And when he discovered Batman's true identity, he saw what he'd always feared. That Bruce had taken tragedy and turned it into greatness, while he remained ordinary. So, he did what NB always does. He turned admiration into hatred. He remade his face, literally and symbolically, stitched together from fragments of his victims. A patchwork of control, a god built from flesh and resentment. He called himself Hush, because silence is what NB sounds like when it finally speaks. Hush isn't just a villain, he's a metaphor, the dark side of perfection. Bruce uses trauma as fuel. Thomas uses it as justification. Both men wear masks to protect themselves, but only one uses his to hide the fact that underneath, he's nothing. Every time Hush looks at Batman, he doesn't see an enemy. He sees what he could have been if he'd chosen healing over hatred. And that's the real tragedy. Hush didn't want to destroy Bruce Wayne. He wanted to be him. And when he couldn't, he tried to make sure no one else could have him either. Thomas Elliot's greatest operation wasn't on a patient. He was on himself. He cut away his humanity and stitched together the monster he always believed the world owed him. Some villains are born in pain, but others, like Hush, manufacture it. Because sometimes envy doesn't want what you have. It wants to destroy the part of you that could ever deserve it. Maybe the DCEU's greatest power isn't its gods or heroes, but its broken hearts. Each villain we've met didn't start as evil. They started as us, scared, hurt, desperate to matter. And maybe, just maybe, that's why their stories haunt us. Because deep down, we see a piece of ourselves in every one of them. So, who's truly the villain? The monster we see, or the pain we never cared to understand?